Rain had fallen heavily for many days before this started, and a depression appeared in the apex of one of the worst bends. Drivers were losing half a second of lap time to avoid it. Doesn't sound much, but it's 50 minutes in 9 days, and more than 50 miles. This was the result of a slight let-up in concentration. No one hurt, the damage is bodywork only. Subframe still perfect. When she did get going again, number 6 went faster than number 1 day 1. You need a controlled four-wheel drift through the S-bends. You could do it lap after lap, and then perhaps be a little casual on line or speed, and bingo. Number 2 hit a guidepost and tore into the scrub. Again, no one hurt. Mechanic's verdict, panel damage only. Soon underway again. Late afternoon and the sun on weary faces as they signal the time for lap 9,380. This is another period of concern for every driver. The shape of the track meant that at some stage they must also drive into the setting sun. They must allow for heavy dew and yet try not to lose time. The cam's timing is accurate to 1/100th of a second. Their final papers will record some 30,000 split-second facts. Cold as charity, but there's plenty of timber. They've done this before, and they know its value to keen eyes as the cars flash past. And it's comforting to look forward to a meal or a cuppa, no matter when you knock off. More than 3,000 meals were served. Remember, the water came in 44-gallon drums, power from a mobile generator and gas from a bottle. Spare a thought also for the never-ending wash-up. We all had our problems. At least the watchman could boil a billy. This is day 4, and all going well. Nearly 12,000 laps on the score sheet. And suddenly, number 1 put a wheel in that loose metal and shot off the track at 70 miles an hour. Hit and moved a 2-ton boulder. No one hurt. Bad news travels fast, and all working in the black night were waiting for the verdict. Number 6 back in business. Number 1 became the reserve. Some of the drivers were a little too keen pulling out of the pits. Soon came the news that number 1 was okay. Rough panel beating problems, and it was going to be tough fitting a windscreen, but she'd be back in business. Dawn again, the worst marble in the roster lottery, but only a nuisance for about an hour. Despite the mishaps, everything was still keeping to schedule. Tires and drivers might be wearing out, but the engines performed as if they reveled in it. Wrong line. Number 4 puts its offside rear wheel into the metal. Tire wear, together with lap times, had shown that 1:52 was the most economical and least hazardous. That's 73 miles an hour. No need to take unnecessary risks. If we pull them down to slow motion, you'll better appreciate the constant agony on the whole vehicle as the full weight is thrust out onto the outside wheels. Each car is scheduled to do 6,000 laps, and this strain occurs something like 20,000 times. One day telescoped into another. Looking back, drivers could not tell you the day the Dunlop people came to see at first hand the performance put up by the new radial tire. Not one blew out, but some were kept on too long. This one wore through and was driven round to the pits at high speed, hence the smoke. Worth mentioning that there was no instance of bead or casing failure, and not one tire left the rim. Another point that emphasizes the dreadful strain on all components was the sheet of shredded rubber confetti that appeared on the verge of every tough bend, cut off by the abrasive action. Ordinary tires simply could not have stood up to it. Neither could the cars have done the job without a strong, tough grip, as they literally dragged the tires across the hard granite surface. Out for another load. The triple toot means he'll be in for petrol after 3 more laps. Get that mobile hose and stand by. Pit crew shift 12 hours. No chance to go walkabout. Driver's courage is called on at the foot of the hill. They're doing 80 and need this perfect oversteer control. After getting through that bend, they must pick it up, negotiate a grim little right-hander, and tackle the hill at 80 to get over at 60. The gradient is 1 in 4. At some time or another, all 5 left the track. this one at more than 90 miles an hour. It rolled 5 times. Barry Seaton at the wheel, but completely unharmed, thanks to safety belts. Not one door sprang open in any prang. The way the Falcon torque box or subframe withstood this treatment is nothing short of incredible. Once again, the big job is to straighten her out. In comes the spare to keep 5 cars on the track, and number 2 becomes the standby. On the final Sunday, with the grand mileage tally around the 60,000 mark, another helicopter brought Henry Ford himself to look at the new proving ground, to see at first hand the performance put up by the Australian Falcon. He came at a stage when many were battle-scarred, giving little clue to their true mechanical condition. He watched veteran Harry Firth again take out number 1, the Scarlet Flyer. Watched him send her round just as fast as when she was immaculate. He must have shared the pride of all concerned in what was being achieved. Out came the honey gold number 2, fresh from the panel-beating hammer, to show there was nothing wrong. Not exactly in showroom condition, but still a first-class car and very quick. But during those last few hours, all eyes focused on number 3. She too was going like clockwork. The only one in near showroom condition. Only a few scratches. Driven by McLaughlin, Arends, Foreman and Bartlett, she purred her way round the track more than 5,000 times. All concerned had fingers crossed, hoping that no sudden incident would prevent her seeing it through. She seemed smooth and unhurried, clocking her 72 to 74 miles an hour every lap. It's hard to appreciate that this is a family and not a racing car. As the sun went down on the last day, the forecast was that the 70,000 would be completed at about 3 a.m., some 6 hours ahead of schedule. Veteran McLaughlin was making sure his baby, Bluebird, number 3, was in at the finish. Already she had the fastest times over the longer distances, and with only 6 hours to go, set out to prove that she was just as good as on day 1 by setting a fantastic pace for the 10 shorter distances, all at over 72 miles an hour. A perfect ending to the Falcon Mobile Durability Run. Time, 1:42 a.m., Monday, May the 3rd. It's all over, and even at this deadly hour, there's jubilation from the entire camp. And they didn't forget McLaughlin. With a special spot for the man in charge of it all, Les Powell of Ford Public Relations. Ford's confidence is eminently justified. Let's ask that man Les Powell for the company viewpoint.
We went out on a limb by saying we would do it. Our aim of 70,000 miles was achieved in under 9 days. Those results speak for themselves, and they're proof of much more than reliability and endurance. Now, there are a lot of tired men around here. Tired, but happy in the satisfaction of successful teamwork. By tomorrow night, nothing of our little town will be left. Screaming tires will have been replaced by methodical, 40 miles per hour, day in, day out, year-round testing and improving. In other words, though we have finished, the story has not.
Thank you, Les Powell. Yes, an amazing achievement is already history. A bold, confident challenge has become a fact. Those fast-moving 9 days, 216 kaleidoscopic hours, will leave an indelible impression on all who played a part. No 2 people will remember the same details, but common to all will be the sound of those screaming tires, broken sleep, odd meal hours, cold nights, eerie dawn, mounting suspense, and finally, a shared feeling, not so much of triumph, but of achievement. Achievement in proving that an Australian-made family car